This involves the biggest interest rate cuts in history, the biggest fiscal stimulus we have ever seen, the biggest increase in resources in the history of our international institutions, with 250 billion, more money than ever before, for trade finance as well. For the first time, we have a common approach around the world to cleaning up banks' balance sheets and restoring lending. We are engaging in a deep process of reform and restructuring of our international financial system for now and for the future. And we have maintained our commitment to help the world's poorest, and we have put more money aside for that and also for a green recovery. These are not just a single collection of actions. This is collective action, people working together at their best. I think a new world order is emerging, and with it the foundations of a new and progressive era of international cooperation. We have resolved that from today we will together manage the process of globalization to secure responsibility from all and fairness to all. And we've agreed that in doing so, we will build a more sustainable and more open and a fairer global society. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to answer questions on the communiqué.
Can we have people standing and stating their name and organisation clearly, please? Adam Bolton, Sky News.
Adam Bolton, Sky News. Prime Minister, what would you say to analysis that although you and Barack Obama have been centre stage at this, but perhaps for your own electorates, there's maybe the least in this package comparatively? I mean, what are British voters going to get out of this agreement?
Well, our priority right through this summit has been the jobs, the homes, the businesses of hard-working families in this country and indeed every country. And we know that if you take action in one country, it can make some difference. But if countries act together, they can make a major difference. Indeed, some people say that if we act together with other countries, the benefit of the actions taken are twice as much as if simply acting on your own. And the agreement we have today to push money into the international economy so that it can restore economic activity quickly and trade and commerce around the world is a very significant step towards recovery. Confidence, first of all, because we are sorting out the problems of the banking system, and not just at a national level, but at a global level to deal with global financial flows. Confidence also for the British people and for peoples around the world, because we are rebuilding the international financial system so that it serves the people rather than, as on occasion it has, serve itself. And confidence that with this injection of new money into the world economy, that we can make a difference to the level of trade, therefore the number of businesses that can expand or stay in being or invest for the future. And I believe that the combination of our measures, but most of all the unity that exists around the world to tackle this recession, means that people in our own countries can have far more confidence in both the financial system and in our hopes for recovery. So our first thoughts are those people who are worried about their jobs and their homes and our businesses, and the measures we're taking together are designed to improve not only the chances of people getting jobs, but to help people stay in their jobs.
Second question, can I have Robert Parsons from France 24?
France 24, France 24. Prime Minister, a large amount of money is being devoted to the IMF. How much of that is new money, and how much of it is coming from China? And if the Chinese contribution is going to be substantial, what implication is that going to have for Chinese voting rights on the IMF? Thank you.
Well, I have to tell you that China has contributed 40 billion. The European Union has contributed 100 billion. And of course, Japan has contributed 100 billion. There is agreement from other countries that they will contribute to the new assistance to borrow, the new agreements to borrow. That will be launched in the next few weeks. The crisis facility is doubled in size. The new agreement to borrow will be worth 500 billion. Then on top of that, the IMF is issuing its special drawing rights, which is providing liquidity to the world economy, and every country will be awarded on the basis of their representation and quota at the IMF, these drawing rights so that we can provide more liquidity for the world economy. Now, in addition to that, we're putting $200 billion into trade so that we can keep moving the trade of the world forward. And the biggest problem that many companies have is getting trade finance, and that is a problem we're addressing today. China and other countries are right to say that the representation and the quotas at the International Monetary Fund have to be changed to meet new times. We have set a timetable for doing that, but as you can see, the contributors to what we are doing to stimulate the world economy include many, many countries around the world.
Have Nick Robinson from the BBC, please.
Nick Robinson, BBC News. Prime Minister, thank you. Can you confirm that the $1 trillion that you've announced... Sorry. I've just swapped the microphone. Shall I go ahead? There we are, forgive me. Nick Robinson, BBC News, sorry for that. Prime Minister, can you confirm that the $1 trillion that you have announced is not an economic stimulus, it's loans and guarantees, because you could not agree a fiscal stimulus in the future at this summit? And what difference will that $1 trillion stimulus make to people who are worried about their jobs and their homes?
Well, I'm pleased you asked that question, because it allows me to say that the issues that people thought divided us did not divide us at all. There was substantial agreement on the need for us to do whatever is necessary to return to growth. You will see that reflected in the strength of the communiqué. We are in the middle of a fiscal stimulus with announcements coming every day from different countries that is worth about $5 trillion. But we also agreed we'd increase the amount of money available to the international economy by up to $1 trillion as a result of these different actions we're taking. This is new money provided by the European Union, provided by Japan, provided by China, and to be provided by other countries. This is money that is generated through the International Monetary Fund, issuing its own special drawing rights. And the trade credits that we're bringing together are trade credits that come from export credit agencies and from private companies as well as public companies, so that we can have a boost to world trade. So I would say to you this: we will do whatever is necessary to come through this difficult time. That's why we've agreed to meet again later this year. The level of the fiscal stimulus is $5 trillion by the end of next year, so it is major and accepted by all countries as necessary. We actually say in the communiqué that it is necessary to do this to prevent the recession getting worse, but at the same time, we've managed to mobilize international resources that mean that in the combination of interest rate cuts, the fiscal stimulus, the quantitative easing of the central banks, and now this international injection of resources means that we can move forward our economies much faster. This is an example of the world actually working together. It's an example of us using international institutions to make a difference to the prospects for recovery. And this is in addition to, and not an alternative to, the fiscal stimulus that is being done, the injection of resources, the new investment, the support for the unemployed and for housing that's being done in most countries now around the world. If you looked at the situation in November, people didn't even know that there would be a fiscal injection of resources from countries. Now, as a result of announcements over the last few months and coming even in the last few days and probably in future days, $5 trillion of extra resources are injected into the world economy. But on top of that today, we're making available an extra $1 trillion.